Hi, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to do a little book talk, book review, whatever you want to call it, on Ghost of the Shadow Market. If you've been living under a rock, Cassandra Clare wrote these novellas on one of the characters in Infernal Devices trilogy and the Mortal Instruments series and the Dark Artifices. So if you have not read any of her previous works and you have not finished any of those series, I highly suggest that you exit this video right now. My first initial thoughts on this book was, it was good, but I think that the beginning chapters were a little too slow for my liking. It took me a while to get fully into it. It did take me about 2 days to finish this book regardless, but I just found myself like writing more notes than normally would when reading a book, and usually that's a sign that I'm not really into it and I'm just going to find something else to preoccupy my time because I'm just trying to take a break from reading. Unfortunately, like, this was probably my least favorite Shadowhunter book, but with that being said, I did enjoy it. I think I gave it like 4 stars. I don't even remember. I'd probably put 5 stars just because I'm nice. But yeah, it was not my favorite Shadowhunter book, but regardless, it's Cassandra Clare and I'm literally trash for her. It's year 1901 and it takes place in London, in the Shadow Market there. Anyways, it starts out with like Jem in the Shadow Market and he's like going through the booths and stuff, and then he runs into Matthew Fairchild. And if you don't remember who Matthew Fairchild is, he is the son of Charlotte and Henry. So Matthew is there at the Shadow Market and he is 15 at the time. And I thought it was very interesting because I saw a parallel between him and Ty, because they're both 15 when they go to the Shadow Markets and like looking around, just like kind of like curious, I guess. But they are also both like strangely accepted by like all the downworlders there, because all the downworlders were just like, oh, like he's harmless, like kind of like more amused that he was there than scared. Also, I thought it was literally so adorable when Matthew was saying how he wanted to have a warlock friend or like a downworlder friend like his father, because his father is friends with Magnus Bane, and it just like brought back memories because I forgot that like Magnus was so close to Henry and how they like built the portal together and they were like helping each other out. Oh my god. And then when you saw Katarina, as soon as it said like blue skin or blue warlock or whatever, I was like, oh my god, Katarina, Katarina. I was so excited. Also, I was wondering like what the heck she was doing because she was like juggling a bunch of different things, and I was just thoroughly confused as to why she was there. In this story, Jem is like trying to meet up with Ragnar because his mission is to find like the lost Herondale. Throughout the rest of the novellas, there's a common theme of him just like trying to figure out like where this descendant has gone and if he can protect this descendant. Basically, he's just trying to get information about that from Ragnar. And at the same time, it's like Matthew is just like perusing the stories and stuff. So what scared me is like they're like flashbacks and stuff like to like Matthew's life, and I guess this is just giving us like the premise for the Last Hour series. Everything that is revealed in this novella literally scared me so much. I was so shook too because he seems like this like really nice kid, really awesome, outgoing, seems like everyone like kind of loves him, and I started to love him too, but then like honestly I started getting scared because like it talks about how he helps out Cook, and I was like, oh my god, Will used to like say stuff about Cook too, because he used to say like he was gonna marry Cook, and I think Matthew said something along the lines of that too, and I was like, oh my god, they're like the same person. But then I was like, wait a second, Will was like a tortured soul and had like all these issues, like what if this happens to Matthew? And then I got scared because it looked like all of my premonitions for like Matthew as a character were coming to light, and I was just like, oh my god, what did you guys think about Will writing a book about demon pox? I literally started cackling. I thought that was so funny. I was literally about to start crying because I was just like, of course he would. Of course he would write a book about demon pox. That's going to be his legacy. And then when you get to like page 34, when Matthew says, and that was like my last happy day, literally I was like smiling up until that point, and then I was just like, When Matthew was at the Shadow Hunter market, he ended up buying like this potion, but he didn't show Jem that he bought it. Like he tried to like sneakily buy it, I guess. And the potion was supposed to be like a truth serum. He wanted to use this potion on Charlotte to get some information about her, about like who his real father was. And like this idea that Henry was not his father was planted in his brain at the academy by like these bullies. And honestly, I felt bad because like, yeah, I was kind of suspicious that like he looked low-key like, was it Gabriel? Gideon? Gabriel? I don't know, one of the brothers, Lightwood brothers. But I was just like, please, no, don't use it. I'm like, just ask her, and if she doesn't answer, then use the potion, you know? Like, I was really scared because I knew immediately, like, something bad was going to happen. Like, I just knew nothing good could come out of him, like, low-key poisoning her food, you know? And then, of course, he uses it. He helps cook, and he puts the potion there, gives it to Charlotte. She takes a bite out of whatever he made for her, and then she literally starts dying, and then he's like so scared because he's like, oh my god, I like killed my mom. And then Jem comes, and like Silent Brothers, you know, the rest of them are coming, and they're like gonna help her out or whatever. And then like turns out Henry tells him when like they're like sitting at the table like scared that she's not gonna make it, Henry is like, oh, like she's pregnant, and like we were hoping it was gonna be a girl. And honestly, I started crying because I was like, oh my god, he's not going to get over this. He's always going to have that, like, trauma that came from killing his sibling. And then when Henry was telling Matthew, like, how he got his name and how he got his hair coloring and stuff from his aunt, and, like, they didn't want to name him. They never told him the story because they didn't want him to be embarrassed that he was named after his aunt and not a man. And, like, I was getting really emotional because I was like, why couldn't you just told him this like 2 hours ago? Like, he would have never given her the poison stuff. I was like, nice timing. I don't know, I was just really sad over that. And I was really sad that like the fact that he thought that Charlotte didn't love Henry, because that was kind of the thing that they struggled with in the Infernal Devices series. Like, Henry and Charlotte both didn't think they loved the other person. Like, they thought it was all one-sided, their relationship, and that their relationship was never going to be true love. And the fact that, like, their kid thought that as well just kind of was heartbreaking to me. Jem is like, bro, you, like, I know what you did, and, like, you have to tell someone about your secret, because secrets like this will destroy your soul, and, like, blah blah. And like, I know he was like referring to Will, and that I was like, oh my god, the parallels between them are getting stronger. Oh my god. And then all of a sudden Matthew's like low-key torturing himself because like he thinks he deserves it. And when his peripatetie and like the sister comes, and they're like trying to like comfort him, and he kicks him out of the room, I was so angry, but like I kind of get it. Like, he's trying to deal with his guilt in the way that he can, which is by making sure that he is not happy and that he's not getting comfort because he doesn't think he deserves it. He's literally 15 years old. Like, how was he supposed to know any better? How was he supposed to know that the world is not just like this happy place, and that it is scary, and that there are people out there who will want to do bad things to you, and you can't trust everyone you meet. And I think that was like a life lesson that he for sure just learned, that you can't just trust random people. But I also thought it was really bad because that just made the downloaders look bad. Oh my god, I literally love Jamie so much. Like, when he came over to Matthew to have like that little cute conversation, he was just like, I know what they say about your mom, like they say something about my mom too. And how like he threw like, I don't know, some shadow hunter into the river because he was talking bad about Tessa. Now Tessa had been so excited to have like a shadow hunter guest. Their little family that they have in the London Institute isn't like everyone else, and that their opinions are very progressive compared to the rest of the shadow hunters. I'm not gonna lie, I hate the Silent Brothers. When we found out, like, as soon as I found out that all the Silent Brothers are in Jem's head, and that they like listen in on his thoughts and like his conversations, and then they're speaking in his head, like telling him like, oh, come home, and like, I was like, first of all, 1, that's creepy. 2, that's an invasion of privacy. 3, get a life. Like, I know that they're probably like a bag of bones and all like pretty much dust already, but they just need to get a life. I get it Jem has a really great life and a lot of people who love him, but you don't need to tear them apart. Literally, they're trying to tear apart his family, like, you can't be, like, close to them, you have to let go of whatever. Like, yeah, shut up. Every exquisite thing. Okay, so this one is centered on Anna Lightwood, and that's the daughter of Cecily and Gabriel. She doesn't like women's clothing. She hates corsets, she hates the dresses. She just likes the suits and ties and stuff, and she's very much comfortable in her sexuality. Like, she is unapologetically herself. I thought it was really funny how she would wait for Matthew to leave or go somewhere, and then she'd sneak into his room and get like the nicest looking clothes and just like dress up in them and get all nice and be like, okay. But like all of Matthew's am I saying Matthew? All of Christopher's clothes were like literally burned. And I was laughing so hard because I was like, oh my god, he's Henry. So Cecily and Gabriel take Anna and Christopher to the Inquisitor's house, and they're going for a dinner. So then they head over to the Inquisitor's house, and Anna is just like chilling out. Like, the Inquisitor's house, they have a daughter, and her name is like Ariadne, or I don't even know how to pronounce her name. Let's just call her Ari for short. No, we'll call her Arya for short, okay? Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It's very apparent to me that Arya is Anna's like love interest, because Anna keeps like mentioning how she's gorgeous and she's the most beautiful girl she's ever seen and all this stuff. It made me laugh so hard when they're at dinner and Matthew is just saying like all these random things. He's just kind of like messing up the dinner, and like, I don't know, I just thought it was funny how he's just super clueless and he's not like good with social cues and stuff, and how Anna's just like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. So then Anna and Arya go to the library, and Arya's just like, you know, like she's like flirting hardcore, but Anna's like, is she flirting or is she just like being nice, like what's going on? And then Arya's like, you know, like you should like come over for training, like we could train together, like how nice would that be, and like all this stuff. She's like, okay, yeah. And then when all the parents come in and it's like sus, she's like, oh my god, she agrees, she's gonna like train with me, all this stuff. I was just like, what is she trying to get out of this? You know, like I was kind of confused. I didn't trust her 100%, not gonna lie, but I was also like, oh, like I kind of want Anna to be happy, so like if she thinks she's pretty and like the one, like go for it, girl, you know? So then it goes to Jem, and he's again in the Shadowhunter market, and I was literally screaming because Jem goes and approaches Malcolm Fade, and immediately I was like, oh my god, you're friends with him, oh my god, please don't. I was like, Magnus was also friends with Malcolm Fade, and I couldn't help but think, I was like, why the hell are you guys friends with him? Like, he's a horrible person. But like, obviously, I guess his motives for what he was doing was not very apparent to anyone. They didn't suspect him to be this evil guy, but I was just kind of like, okay. Anyways, then there's this new warlock. Her name is like Leopolda Stain, and I was just like, who are you? Why are you here? And I didn't like Leopolda, not gonna lie. I was just kind of like, oh yeah. So like Leopolda is this like warlock lady that's like new, and Jem was like trying to follow her because he thought like she was sus too. So he was like following her to this house. Well, Matthew, on the other hand, also knows Leopolda apparently, because he went to this like house party with a bunch of downloaders, and they're just like, I don't know, partying up, you know, having a good time. And Leopolda's there, and she's like entertaining like the mundanes, and is like very, very, I don't want to say sus, but she's so sus. Like, she's very suspicious. And it is unclear at that moment, like, what she wants. So the video cut out. Are we shocked? No. Basically, like, Tessa and Katerina are, like, roommates in London. And it's during, like, World War II, and there's bombs going off, and, like, basically the whole city is under attack. And like while they're being nurses and stuff, Jem is like getting into trouble with these fairy dudes, and they attack him and basically go to kill him and like poison him or whatever. So then Jem goes to the hospital, finds Tessa, Then Tessa and Katarina head back to Katarina's place, and Tessa's like, oh my god, like, gotta save him. So then they're like saving him or whatever. And yeah, basically they heal him, and then Jem like skips out in the morning. I remember like my favorite things from that book were specifically like Jem being clueless that like the Lost Herondale is the first heir. And I was really mad at Jem just for leaving Tessa in the morning. Like, he didn't say anything. He just, like, left and went back to the Silent City, which I was really angry about. Because, like, bro, you were engaged to her once upon a time. The Wicked Ones, it takes place in Paris, and it is the year 1989. This one focuses on Jace's parents. At the time, his mom is 17 and his dad is 22. His parents are Celine Montclair and Stephen Herondale. So Stephen immediately is super likable to me because he just doesn't like pigeons, and it's like the whole like never trust a duck thing all over again. And I just thought like he has like all those Herondale attributes that we've all come to know and love. But the only thing is like both Celine and Stephen are in the circle, so it makes you wonder, like, you know, what's going on there? Like, why are you guys evil? Stephen is like Valentine's right-hand man. At this point, Luke Garraway is already out of the picture. He's already a werewolf, so he's kind of taking the place of Valentine's peripety, but not really. So Stephen is married at this point in time, and Celine is just like, she doesn't take that as like, I know, she is still like low-key pursuing him, has had like a schoolgirl crush on him for years, and whenever she hangs out with him, she just kind of is like flirty and like very much wants to be like with him. So there's this mission that Valentine is having Celine and Stephen do with Robert Lightwood as well, to get like information and to like get something out of some warlock. I don't even remember it, but basically they go to the Shadow Market. When they get to the Shadow Market, they're like spying on this booth or whatever, and Celine's like trying to like pretend like she's buying jewelry at the booth right next door. And Jem is there, and he is buying this necklace, and it's a heron necklace, basically like the necklace that runs in the Herondale family. And like Celine spots it, and she's like, oh my god, it's like so pretty. And then Jem is like making conversation with her, and she just like low-key feels like guilty. Also, I thought it was weird because like everyone like low-key knows who Celine was, because like as a kid she was not homeless, but she was like abused. So she used to run around all around Paris, so all the downworlders and stuff pitied her, and they all know her by name, which I thought was an interesting take because I didn't expect her backstory to be so brutal. At this point in time, Jem is losing his humanity, which basically all the Silent Brothers kind of do. They all kind of turn to stone. They don't have emotions or anything, and this is like slowly happening over time. But as the years have passed by, Jem has been able to hold on longer because he's had people in his life who are still alive and connected to his past life when he was human. So after like Will died and he hasn't seen Tessa and he only sees her like once a year, it's rapidly catching up with him that he's slowly losing his emotions. Jem like runs off to go chase this man, Jack Crow. And Jem believes Jack Crow to be the Lost Herondale. So he's chasing down like alleys, and then there's like a woman who comes after him named Rosemary, and she's like, like protective, and he's like, you know, like whatever. So they make this deal, and he's like, oh, like I'll meet you tonight on the bridge, like whatever, I'll come with you, like safety, blah blah. While that's going on, in the Shadow Market, Stephen and Robert and them are like having issues. Basically, Dominique gives Stephen like a love potion, so he's like falling in love with Celine. And then Robert's like, what the F, like what's wrong with him? And there's demons in the back of her tent, and they're like attacking everyone, and everything's just going chaotic, you know? But then they catch Dominique, and they're like arresting her or something. So Stephen and Robert go back to the apartment or whatever, and Celine sees them like torturing Dominique basically, and she doesn't have the stomach for it, which I thought was funny, but you know, whatever. If you're gonna be in a circle, you gotta kind of deal with that, you know? I don't know how she's got this far without having to watch someone be tortured and hasn't been like immune to its effects. But basically they're torturing this lady or whatever, and then she's like, I'm gonna go get some food for us. You guys hungry? They're like, yeah, whatever. So she goes out the door, but then she eavesdrops on like Stephen and Robert's conversation, and they're just being like really cruel, calling her like a child, little kid, like they don't see her as an equal or anything. So this really upsets her, and she goes like run around Paris. And as she's doing this, I'm like, you're literally reverting back to like your childhood self when you would like run away from your parents. I mean, of course it's not as bad, but like I know that it probably triggered her to be like not treated well. So she runs away and goes to cool off, and there's like a shack scene or something, and she kills it. And the shack scene was following like this couple onto like the bridge, and it was Rosemary and Jack, and she didn't really question it. She saw this like moment between Rosemary and Jack where like Jack takes this potion and he looks like a completely like ugly version of himself, and like they kiss and like embrace or whatever, and she's like watching this like all go down, like what the heck, whatever. And then she sees like Jem coming her way, so like she kind of scrams. So Jack left, and he was gonna take the scent of like the lost Herondale with him because he wants everyone to believe that he's the lost Herondale and not Rosemary, because Rosemary is the real one. But then Jem figures out, he's like, oh, so you are the lost Herondale. He gives her the hairy necklace, and he's like, here, like, if you ever need help and you, like, are in trouble, just, like, call on me with this. Like, I'll be there, like, no matter what. Like, just take this. So then she takes it, and she's like, okay, like, whatever, like, bye. Rosemary saw Celine. I think before she had her conversation with Jem, she saw Celine. And she warned her about, like, Valentine, like, the type of person he was. But Celine's like, like, yeah, whatever. You don't know anything, okay? He's, like, my best friend. But, like, Celine was also, like, sus at the same time. Because she's like, I've been treated bad my whole life. You're right. He's probably just using me. I was like, yes, Celine. Get it. You're gonna, like, do something great. This is gonna be amazing. And then when she goes to, like, Valentine's apartment, she sees, like, Dominique's in a cage. And I was like, what the hell? And then she hides behind his curtains. I'm like, first of all, you're a shadow hunter, not an amateur. Like, do better than that. He's gonna find you. And then he walks into the room and he has this like conversation. Basically, the conversation outs him as like he planned for the whole warlock thing. Like he wanted Celine, Robert, and Stephen to go to the shadow market, find her, falsely accuse her of stuff. And just to see like how loyal they are or something like that. It was like basically just like a test, and they passed essentially. But what happened is, since Celine was in his room, she like low-key failed because she was like a little sus about him. And then he's like, Valentine's like, you can come out from behind the curtain now, like I know you're there. She comes out like a kid with her hand in the cookie cutter in the cookie jar, and I'm just like, girl, you need to get out of there. He's gonna kill you. Like, he's gonna make it look like it was an accident. It's like, oh, poor thing, ran away and died. I was like, you literally have no alibi. No one's on your side. Everyone hates you. Wouldn't be surprised if you died. They don't treat you as an equal. Like, this is bad. So then Valentine is like talking to her, and he's like, wow, you're like really smart. And like basically he's like kissing up to her, but also like is being super manipulative, so she wants to stay and like hang out with him. Oh yeah, and then Valentine kills Dominique instead of paying her. I was like, dude, that's not cool. But also I get it, because like you can't have someone like saying, this guy had me like set up 2 shadow hunters, like, you know, so I get it, like why? But then, so like he's saying he's setting up 2 shadow hunters, and Celine's like, oh my god, that's not right. It's like, you have a choice to make. Like, you could either stay with us and the people that you treat as family, or you can be outcasted and not be a part of this family ever again, and you can just figure it out. And like she felt like she was so lost in the world, she had nowhere to go. She didn't want to go to her parents, they were horrible, and like all this stuff. So she felt very truly stuck in her position, which I felt like Valentine took way too big of, like, he took advantage of her basically. And then like the next day when they're taking these like 2 innocent shadow hunters, they turn out to be her parents, and she's like so torn. She's like, should I save them? Should I show them mercy? She's like, but they never showed me any mercy because they thought mercy was weakness. So like from that, she didn't save her parents on their way. And I was just like, I was like, you know what, she's abused, and like I low-key get it, it's like revenge, but at the same time it's like Valentine's doing this on his terms. He's like, in exchange for like your parents, I'm giving you Steven. Like Steven's like some object. It's like, oh, here's a piece of gum, like here you go, thanks. He just accepts it and it's like, yeah, I'll take Steven. Like, what the hell? As soon as I saw year 2000, I was like, Jace, Alec, Izzy. I was like, they're all alive. I'm excited. This is gonna be good. They're gonna be children. They're gonna be fighting together. It'd be great. So then this book, it turns out it takes place when Jace is on his way to the Institute. Like, he hasn't met Izzy or Alec yet. He's on his way to meet them and live with them. And I'm just like so excited. I think this was one of my favorites because Raphael is in it. And I missed him so much as a character. I forgot how much I loved Raphael until I read this book. Like, literally, he's my favorite, like, side character. And then Lily Chen, when she was giving Brother Zachariah all these nicknames, Brother Snackariah, Brother whatever, Lily was literally the comic relief that the story needed, besides Raphael's, like, brooding character that just makes everyone laugh from, like, the way he reacts to things. Okay, so it starts out in the Shadow Market, per usual. And Jem's like chilling there, but then like Raphael and Lily approached and they like were like, oh, we need shadow hunters. Basically there's this like yin-fin deal going on with the wolves on this ship that's coming in tonight, like, or tomorrow night. We need help and backup, and like, will you help us? And he's like, yeah, let's go to the shadow hunters. But they're like, basically they don't trust them because they are circle members and they know how they feel about downworlders, so they're not very trustworthy of the Clave at all. They don't want to go to the Institute. So then Jem is like, you know what, we're going to fix this. I'll go with you to the Institute. I'll talk to them with you. They'll believe me. I'm a silent brother. Like, I can help you out. So Jem, like, takes them over to the Institute. Basically, they have a conversation warning them about the infant. But baby little Alec, he's so cute. He's, like, telling Raphael, like, oh, like, I like your shirt, like, just, like, complimenting him, and Raphael's like, why is this kid talking to me? Like, I just loved him. And I also like whenever Magnus is, like, mentioned, Raphael is always, like, acting, like, indifferent, like he doesn't care about Magnus, but when it's very obvious that he does care about his well-being, especially if you read, like, Red Schools of Magic, you know what I'm talking about. Like, he just pretends like he doesn't care, but, like, at the end of the day, he would help Magnus out if he needed it, and he would help save his life. I also really liked when they were in the Shadow Market and he's like, oh, I don't like Magnus, I'm not friends with anyone, like, what are you talking about? But then he sees Ragnar and Ragnar's walking by and they like fist bump, and then he's like acting like nothing happened. Oh my god, I love Raphael so much, and like how at the time like they were like little pen pals, and like, ugh, I love it. Also, I thought it was interesting how Izzy and Alec don't know that their parents were in the circle. So, like, they both, like, idolize their parents, and they think they're the best. They don't think there's anything wrong with them, that they are not bad people. They don't think that they have flaws. And I think at the end of the day, yes, they were really young, but I also think that they should have known that they'd made mistakes like that in their past, because then it wouldn't be such a shock later on for them. When Jace is being introduced, he's so cute, and like how he automatically knew how to fight against the werewolves or whatever, and then he got hurt and he didn't want to tell anyone that he got hurt because he didn't want people to be disappointed that he got hurt. But they were like, you're like young, like you're a good warrior. Like, he wanted people to think he was great. He never wanted to show that he was weak, and I thought that was like, just showed like how his parenting as a kid from Valentine really did mess with him, and that luckily the Lightwoods were able to like kind of reverse that and make it known that like, yes, it's okay to be hurt in battle, like there is pride in that. Oh my god, when Jem asked Lily like what would you do if like Raphael was ever hurt, that was too real. That was way too real for me, because we already know that like in real time he's not alive. So I was literally like, oh my god, stop. I was like, just stop. I was like, don't get that thought into her head only a few years before it actually happens. Ugh. And how like Jem is pointing out that she's in love with him, and I'm just like, please stop. we already know that, like, she cared a lot about Raphael, and if you read The Red Scrolls of Magic, you know how much she loves him, and it's, like, to the point where, like, she can do some dangerous shit just to get him back. It's just... When it is revealed that Jem has WH engraved on his cane, I was screaming. I was like, no, he got it after Will. Wait. And then Jace had noticed him. I was like, what's WH stand for? Does all the Silent Brothers have that? Oh my god, he's so cute! Jem was talking to Jace about how there's, like, strength in having a parabatai, and, like, it's not considered a weakness, and, like, that there is strength in love and all that stuff. And how, like, that kind of changes Jace's perspective immediately. He's like, I want a parabatai. I need one, you know? And how when he went to the Institute, he was, like, looking at Alec, and he's like, yeah, I want him to be my parabatai. He just was like, yep, you're the one. First person I meet. You're it. I thought it was interesting how it's revealed that Jem chose the name Zachariah because it means remember, and he wanted to remember his past and remember why he was a silent brother instead of being dead. When Alex saw Jace for the first time and he's, like, staring at him, he's like, wow. Jace said that he isn't anyone's anything. That literally made me want to cry. I think this is Dark Artifice timeline. I don't know. Something like, I think it is Dark Artifices. Like the first bookish. Brother Zachariah is Jem, actually Jem. Like, he's no longer a silent brother. So him and Tessa are finally together, which made me so happy because I wanted them to have their happily ever for so long. Okay, so basically the book starts out with, like, Tessa and Jem, and they need help getting into, like, the Shadowhunter market in Paris. The werewolf that's, like, in charge of it said, oh, the only Shadowhunter we'll allow in here is Alec Lightwood. Now, if you read Red Scrolls of Magic, you understand why he's the only Shadowhunter that is allowed into that shadow market. Magnus and Alec get this, like, correspondence from them wanting help in the morning, and Alec goes to tell them, like, oh, he has to go, and they walk in on the scene where Magnus is training Max, their son, to resist demon temptations, which I thought was so funny because he's just like, no, I'm going to be a Shadowhunter, and he doesn't want anything to do with the demon, doesn't care. I just love his kids, and, like, them as parents, it just makes me so happy. I love how Max is, like, trying to be, like, pretending like he's doing magic and stuff like Magnus, but he's not. And also how Jace, like, they're like, he can't babysit, like, he's, like, the worst influence on our kids. I thought that was just, like, a fun little dynamic. So Alec is, like, going to get Lily because he wants to bring her along to the shadow market and thinks, like, it'd be a good idea to bring her because she's still mourning the loss of Raphael, so he thinks, like, getting her out of, like, the hotel will do her some good. So he takes her to Paris with him, and when they get there, they immediately go to the Institute because they're like, yeah, we'll just stay the night here. But the Institute's so whack and, like, super not progressive. They're very conservative. I don't know. They're very stuck in the past, so they're, like, anti-downworlder. They won't let them stay there. So then they decide, like, you know, screw this. We're just gonna go to the shadow market, go get this over with, and then we'll go figure out a place to stay. So they go to the shadow market, and when they get there, the werewolf Juliet, who we met in Red Scrolls of Magic, is, in fact, the woman in charge of the Shadowhunter market, and she lets them in because she trusts him with her life. Okay, so at this point, the cold piece is still very much a thing. But basically, they go to the Shadowhunter market, and there's, like, a bunch of orphan children. They're downloaders mostly, but then Alec notices that there is a Shadowhunter child that is abandoned, and that this kid is not really being taken care of that well by the other people there, and that he's kind of being ignored. But he's also, this kid is very not friendly. He's not friendly at all. In fact, he's really rude to Alec. He's calling him bad names, and the whole dynamic of Alec trying to be nice to this kid, and he's just like, kid's not having it, doesn't want to hang out with him. So basically, she let Alec in, and she told him, like, there's a bunch of female werewolves that belong to the shadow market who are going missing, like, that we don't know where they're going. So Alec makes it his mission to help her track down these missing werewolves and, like, return them back to their families. So Alec talks to Juliet, and he's like, oh, by the way, like, my friends, like, Jem and Tessa, like, they need help. They're trying to look for, like, the lost Herondale. And then Juliet's like, oh, well, this lady who like owns the potion stand is like, she knows a lot of information about that, like just talk to her. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This lady who we saw in the first shadow market is the answer to finding the lost Herondale. Of course she is. This fairy potion lady was the midwife for the first heir, or the lost Herondale. Basically, the first heir named Arlene, that was her name, she fell in love with Roland the Magnificent or whatever, which was the pregnant lady that like Jem saw way back when he went to like the House of Mirrors at that carnival, which I didn't mention. Oops. But basically, she was the first heir, and her child was the next first heir, and so on and so forth. And this lady like knew all about it and was like telling Jem. And then she admits to poisoning Charlotte's child. She gave poison on purpose to Matthew, just as like a cruel game, like just for payback essentially. At some point in the story, it comes out that Jem doesn't want to ask Tessa to have a child with him because he saw her, what like having children did to her when she had him with Will, how she was just had to watch them over the years die and grow old, and how their families died and grow old, and how she just had to bear that pain with her forever, still has pain about thinking about them, and how like he doesn't want to cause her that pain and doesn't even want to ask her to do that for him, even if it would bring him happiness. And I think that was just so touching, that he's just thinking of her and not his own life. He just like, all he wants in his life is her. And if she doesn't want children, he respects, and he doesn't want to ask her. I'm just like, stop being so goddamn sweet. I'm crying. So Alec, Jem, Tessa, they go with Lily. They go to these houses. I mean, they go and they like they follow this like warlock or someone, and they're trying to figure out like where these werewolves are going. They spot the werewolves are like being held in this house, and then they see the shadow hunters from the institute are also consulting with this person, and they're like, oh my god, this is against like the cold peace, is against everything, you know, like this is just evil. And they eventually break into the house, like have this like epic battle thing, and then Alec is like going in and he's saving all the werewolves, and then at the end the house is on fire, stuff is happening, like we think Alec is gonna die in there because it just does not look good, and there's more werewolf stuff down there, and he wouldn't leave until everyone was out. So he gets the last two werewolves, like him and like Joaquin, I think, or maybe someone else, I don't know, him and someone else, and they come out like barely, but like baby little Raphael thought like Alec was dead, and then he goes up and hugs him, and like he really likes Alec now. Alec decides, you know what, I'm taking Raphael with me. And he gave Raphael like the nickname of Raph, I think, and he decides to take him home. He's adopting him. Unless Magnus doesn't want him, then they'll figure out a way, you know, they'll just like give him up or something. Robert approaches Alec when he comes home with Raphael about wanting him to carry on like the legacy and to be Inquisitor, which made me smile because like now Alec is Inquisitor, but like we didn't know that like he got his blessing from his father, and his father thought he could do it, and his father was proud of him, and that's all that Alec ever really wanted, was his dad to be proud of something he did, and like of the person he became and all this stuff. And it shows that like Robert was trying so hard in their relationship, and oh my god, I just like respect Robert so much more after that conversation they had. But then Alec's like, bro, I need to go, like my kid's up there. He goes inside, and Magnus is like doing little magic tricks for Raphael, because Raphael considered him like the cool man and always wanted to see pictures of him when they were in Paris together, him and Alec. So then Magnus is like entertaining Raphael, and then they're like tucking them into bed, but then Raphael's like too energetic, and then Max gets out of bed, and they're just like, he's like, oh my god, you brought me back a brother, like thank you so much, like super grateful to Alec, thinking like he purposely went out of his way to go get Raphael, like went to adopt him when he was gone. That was his mission. And Magnus just like automatically assumes that they're keeping Raphael, and when Alec mentions like, oh, like don't worry, like he won't be here long, like we don't have to keep him and whatever, and then he's like, what, he's not ours? That made my heart melt, because Magnus just was like already like, okay, he's mine, like they already both claimed him as their own. I thought that was so cute. And then Raphael was like concerned because he thought they were going to give him life, but they're like, no, we're keeping you. And then when Raphael was telling Max, because Max is a werewolf, not a werewolf, oh my god, Max is obviously a warlock, but he wants to be a shadow hunter so bad like Alec. And then Raphael's like, you can't be a shadow hunter, you have to get trained or whatever. So then Alec starts training them in the room for like self-defense. Oh my god, that was the cutest thing ever. So then the next story is Through Blood, Through Fire. This one also takes place in 2012, but I assume it's like a couple months after what just happened. Tessa and Jem are in Providence now, and Jem wakes up and he's being summoned by the Heron necklace. And it's like basically saying like, oh, like it's Rosemary Herondale and she needs help, she's in trouble, and she's in LA. So Tessa and Jem like quickly go to LA. And they pull up to her house and everything seems like pretty fine, but then they hear a scream. So then they run to her house and like there's a fairy who's like, don't interfere, this is first air business, like we're like dealing with it, whatever. And like basically they kill Rosemary. But as Rosemary's dying, like it's very apparent that the fairy didn't know that Rosemary ever had a kid, aka kids. But since she thought she was going to be dying peacefully, like, knowing that her son is protected, that he's going to be okay. And she tells Jem and Tessa, protect my son. Tessa decides to change into Rosemary because they're going to go and try to track down Jack Crow. Because they found out that, like, Rosemary had abandoned Jack Crow long ago, and basically she told him to keep kids safe and that she won't ever see him again because it's too dangerous to endanger kids. She stayed along way past her time and she had to go in order to protect him. She didn't want Kit to know who she was or remember anything about her because she didn't want to endanger him, which was just like a selfless act. So Tessa tries to change into Rosemary and it's very painful for her, and she hasn't had a change this painful since when she first started changing. Immediately that ticked me off and I was like, okay, there's something wrong with her. Like, there's gonna be something bad that happens to Tessa. So basically, Jack had stopped changing what he looks like and became, I think his name's like Johnny Ruck or something. Basically, he kept that name for like centuries just so like she'd know like it's him. And then he wanted to meet her back where he first met her, which was the LA Shadow Market. Now, as we know from reading the Dark Artifice series, there's some issues with that Shadow Market. There's just sketchy people, aka Johnny Rugg. Anyways, so they go there and she changes into Rosemary and she goes to this bar where they like Loki first met, and she like wants to get some clues of like where he is, where's his booth or whatever. And they're like, this fairy person comes up to Jem and is like, oh yeah, like Johnny, blah blah, like flirting with Jem, like not that I blame her, but whatever. Anyways, stuff goes south fast because when Tessa tries to leave as Rosemary, a fairy comes storming in and went to go finish the job because Rosemary needs to stay dead. So they tried to kill Tessa. She was stuck in a change. She couldn't change back from Rosemary. The change was holding on to her. And she was stuck like that for a week. And Jem thought, I'm going to lose Tessa. He thought she was going to die. He was literally like pulling out his hair, like worrying about her. He wouldn't leave her bedside. He literally thought she was going to die. As he was watching Tessa suffer and didn't know what was going to happen, he gained more respect for Will because Will had never once complained about having to watch Jem over the years slowly die from the infant in his blood system, and like how he must have been worried sick about him constantly whenever he'd have like a bout of sickness or like coughing up blood and stuff like that, and he just gained more love and appreciation for Will. As Tessa's stuck in this change, we learn more about Rosemary's backstory, how Jack like basically introduced her to the down world, and like how her parents never wanted her to do that, and how she snuck out one night and both her parents were murdered. And then she realized, like, I need to go on the run, like they wanted to leave tonight and I made them stay, and like she felt guilty for like killing her parents. So that's why she felt more indebted to keep her kid safe, because she knew how her parents were, and she didn't want her kid to be running around changing his name and not having a stable childhood or lifestyle. So she basically was very selfless when she left her child and her husband. They're talking about Jack Crow, how they're like, oh, he's, what'd they say? He's exactly the same bird he used to be. Little less of a crow. I'm so stupid because I was like, yeah, that makes no sense to me. But then she's like, it's so obvious. It's a rook. And I was like, what the F? I would have never figured that out. Tessa was like, yeah, Jem, so like I had trouble changing, and it was basically because like I'm pregnant. And then Jem's like, you're pregnant? And she's like, yep. He wanted her to be pregnant, but he didn't want to ask her that, and then he got what he wanted, and she was excited to have her kid with him. She's like, with you, I would have kids over and over, like as many as you want. Basically saying like, I love you, like I'll do anything for you, like with you, like I want to experience it all with you. And I love that for them. The Lost World. In the year 2013. It's very apparent that this story definitely takes place right after the last Dark Artifice's book. Was it Queen of Air and Darkness, I think is the name of it. This one was also one of my favorites just because I love Ty and I love Kit. Although I hated Livy. No offense to her ghosts. Basically Ty's like analyzing Livy in her new ghost form, and they're like doing like little experiments, and he's just like using this to occupy his time. Livy's worried about Ty. She sees that he's struggling, but like it doesn't seem like that way to everyone else because he's getting good grades, he goes to everything on time, he's never late, he's a good kid, he participates in class and all this stuff. I feel like this is going to be significant, but there's like on his wall there's words written that says, I did not Hey, so basically my camera died. I have so many issues with that thing, that's why I want to buy a new camera so bad. And I I'll probably end up buying one within the next couple of weeks. But for now, I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with this one dying on me every 5 minutes. And also having to use my phone. So anyways, I think I was talking about Ty in the Scholomets with him and Livy. Now I keep staring at myself, see? My other camera doesn't have a viewfinder or anything, so I just kind of stare into the camera lens, and this is an issue because I'm narcissistic and I keep staring at myself. Okay, basically Ty has like Livy go on like little missions or whatever to like Lake Tarn, Dimit Tarn, something like that. Basically there's like this lake, and if you stare into it, like it's enchanted to show you like your future, but like when Livy stares into it, all she sees is darkness, indicating that she's probably gonna just like die again. I don't know. Basically she goes on these missions though, and the farther away she gets from Ty, the more she loses like her humanity, I guess. She gets very scary, like she starts breaking things and just feels funny and she doesn't feel like Livy anymore to Ty. Like his bond, like everything feels weird with her, so she kind of goes like rogue and like evil, I guess. So they can't be separated for too long or too wide of a distance. And then it comes apparent that like Ty is like also like doing penance for like raising Livy. Like he won't keep photos on his phone anymore because like the whole black book thing, he threw his phone into the ocean after that. So I guess it's like no more, you know. And he's been writing letters to like his family and stuff, but the one person he won't write to is Kit. He won't write anything to Kit, and I guess it's because Kit kind of left him without saying goodbye. But at the same time, he's like, bro, you raised your sister from the dead, and basically said like he didn't matter. So you should reach out to him and be like, oh, like I do care, you know. But he just acts like everything's fine, which is, I mean, fine if you want to be alone in life, or whatever. And then Livy gets frustrated because being a ghost and only being able to be seen by Ty, she gets frustrated because she gets lonely, like when she can't talk to him and like when she leaves and stuff like that. She wants attention from other people. She tries to get their attention, like screaming at them, but no one can see or hear her. And I think that's part of the reason why she starts going crazy when she's longer distance away from him, because she's trying to be seen, she's trying to be recognized that she is, you know, in fact on Earth still. And also I think it's part of the curse that is like spells from the Black Book. They all have really bad repercussions, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of them. So Livy one day, when she goes to Dimit Tarn or whatever, she sees like a kitten dying. And then she gets Ty to go rescue it, and then he starts keeping this cat as a pet, and it's like good for him because like now he has like more company, and the cat can see Livy. And I was like, coincidence? I don't think so. I think there's gonna be something major with this cat. I don't know. Most of the cats in these books, there's something special about them. Okay, so I get frustrated because like Ty is asking Livy, like, hey, are you feeling anything weird? Like, what's going on? She's like, oh no, I feel totally normal. And he's just like, okay, well, if anything goes weird, like, you know, like, let me know. And she's just like, I will. But, like, she's lying the whole time because she is feeling weird whenever she's, like, away from him. And she keeps randomly going to Dimitarn, like, over and over again. She just, like, appears there, and it, like, scares the hell out of her. Scares a ghost. There's something wrong with that place. Like, it's cursed. And then all of a sudden, Livy, like, ends up in the LA Institute, and she sees her whole family, and she's trying to get their attention. And then she's in the kitchen with Aline and Helen, and she's trying to get their attention, and the dishes, like, shatter and break. And Aline is so funny because she starts getting excited. She's like, oh my god, my first earthquake ever! It was a mini earthquake. And she's, like, going up. She's like, guys, did you feel the earthquake to all the family? And they're like, no. And then in Drew's room, like, Livy made, like, the lights go out and the TV and everything and start acting weird. All of a sudden, like, the glass breaks all in the house, and then she just gets transported over to where Magnus is with Tessa, and Tessa's going to be going into labor soon. And then Livy's ghost is like, oh my god, I could just, like, put myself into her child, and then I could just have my second chance, and no one would notice because the baby is just, like, it just would be so quick, no one would notice. I'd be a good child. I would do everything right. I'd be a good daughter and all this stuff. I'm just like, don't do it. Like, if you mess with baby Jessa, I'm gonna flip some shit. Like, I can't handle this. So then Magnus knows she's there. Like, he just, like, knows. I don't know how. Basically, like, he gets Tessa out of there quickly and makes her, like, and makes sure, like, she's not there. She's not gonna go into, like, the child. And he's like, you can go keep Kit company or whatever. So then she goes down there. And Kit's, like, drinking alcohol. And I was like, bro, aren't you, like, 16 years old? Like, you've already gone off the deep end. No, but I was, like, concerned because I was like, he seems kind of lonely, but he's, you know, he's with Tessa, so he can't be that lonely. Livy, like, blew up the whole greenhouse thing, and she's just, like, getting into, like, a bunch of stuff. And then Magnus is like, oh, like, I'll see you later. Like, I'll stop by Ty later because she had news about, oh yeah, she went to go spy on people in Idris, and she got news that they're planning to, like, attack, and she wanted to tell Magnus Bane. That's why she transported there. I forgot. So anyway, she goes back to Ty, and Ty ended up in the hospital of the Skullmans. Katarina's there, and she's like, yeah, it's the strangest thing. You just passed out. All your vitals are fine. Like, you seem fine. I don't know what happened to you. And Livy's like, oh my god, the farther I get away from him, I'm hurting Ty, like, not even just, like, mentally, but physically, like, I'm hurting him. So she's like, I'm not gonna go away from him again, like, he needs me, blah, blah. But then Magnus shows up, and he's like, you need to, like, chill out, you need to be a ghost, like, you need to not go away from him, like, you're tied for him, this is whatever. I hope you never have to pay the repercussions of having to bring someone back from the dead, because it'd be bad. And Livy's just like, okay. And then she makes Ty write to Kit. And I was like, the one good thing this damn ghost has done. For the next one, it's called Forever Fallen, and it takes place in New York in the year 2013. Jem is taking Kit to the New York Shadow Market because he's still very familiar with the Shadow Market system, and so is Kit because, like, he grew up in them, so they felt like a bonding experience for them to be, like, fond of, you know? So then everyone's, like, very familiar with Jen. They're super welcoming. They're like, hey, like, you know, you're back. Like, we just haven't seen you forever. Oh my god, you're not a Silent Brother anymore. And then Kit sees this kid, and he thinks it's Ty because he looks like him. He's wearing headphones and all this stuff, and he's just staring at him. He's like, and Jem's like, hey, isn't that Jace? Isn't that Jace over there? And then he's just like staring at this kid, and then he like sees it's not Ty, and he gets really upset. So then they just leave the shadow market. Thank God that that kid who looked like Ty was there, because if he went up to that fake Jace, they would have been murdered, and I probably wouldn't have been able to cope or make this video. Anyways, fake Jace, Janice, whatever the hell you want to call him, fake Jace, is like using how he looks like Jace to like recruit people to help him out in the later, like for a favor. Because since Jace is so well liked by everyone, Downworlders, Shadowhunters, the whole community basically, since everyone loves him, he essentially, just by using like his looks, he can get people to go on his side and just do bad things with thinking that they're doing it for a greater purpose, which is really scary because it's like identity theft but like on crack. Honestly, when Janice is like referring to all of what he's been going through and how he has to see his friends and like all these people, like I start feeling bad for him because I'm like, you know what, Jace would be like this if Sebastian had succeeded. And do I think he should have a terrible ending? No, because he was under his mind control for all these years and then he just didn't have anything better to do. Do I think he should have a happy ending? Sure. But at the expense of ruining his other alternative world's self's life. If he's gonna ruin the real Jace or present Jace's life or regular world Jace's life and just for his own happiness, I don't think it's worth it, and he truly is like deep down a villain. Even though I get like he just wants Clary, but like there's other things. But I mean, I guess he doesn't have other things because like everyone's dead. Everyone that he's ever loved is basically dead. So I don't think he knows how to cope. And Clary is just this object of his that he needs in his life. Someone who can control his urges, I guess, and like make him a better person, want to be a better person and stuff. So yeah, I felt bad for him, but at the same time, like, you need to get out, get back to Seoul, or at least maybe be a good brother to Sebastian's kid. And you know what? That could be his happily ever after. Him just hanging out with Sebastian's kid and raising him as his own. That could probably bring purpose and fulfillment to his life, but he would rather just, you know, insert himself in the real world and take his other self's life. Okay, so like Lily sees fake Jace and was like, hey, like, I don't know, she said some inside joke or whatever. And then fake Jace said something that was not what real Jace would say. So then she immediately runs off because she knows that this is little Jace, like, this is scary, I need to get out of here. But then fake Jace catches up to her and is like, I can promise you, like, I can give you Sol Raphael, like, if you just help me when a time comes, like, blah, blah, blah. And, like, he just plays into the fact that, like, he's a familiar face, and why shouldn't she trust this little Jace? He could be just like her real Jace. So she trusts him enough, and she's like, okay, like, I won't say anything to anyone that you're, like, fake. And he doesn't kill her. Fake Jace is, like, his big plan is to kill the real Jace and just take his place. But as he's, like, observing his friends, like, he's observing Alec and Magnus when they take their kids to the park and they're playing soccer and all this stuff, he realizes he's missed out on so much of their lives that if he was just going to kill the real Jace and take his place, they would find out immediately that he's not their Jace because he just doesn't have those memories and he can't relate to them anymore. He's missed too much. So then he comes to this grand conclusion that, you know what? Maybe I should just steal Clary and take her back to the fairy world with me. And then me, her nephew, and I can just have a great life together. What? Oh my god, he's so dumb. But I felt so bad for him. Because, like, when they're having that party or whatever, and he's outside watching her from the window, like, oh my god, that's her, she's drawing, like, no one draws like Clary, blah, 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 like, just, like, obsessing over her. And then he sees her with the real Jace, and he's like, I'm gonna kill him, like, I am so jealous of him, like, whatever. He's like, I need to steal her, that's the only way. And she and him had this like moment outside where he's like, I miss you, and she's like, oh, like I miss you too, and he just kind of got creepy, and she got a little suspicious of like why he was like acting so weird, and then like she left and she's like, I'll see you when I get back, and he's like, yeah, okay. And that was too much of a risk because she might question him later about it, and then the real Jace would be like, that never happened. So he realized quickly like he needed to take her, and it was a little bit scary to me how he thought like he could just kill the real Jace and that no one would figure it out, because the whole time I was like, if you kill the real Jace, Alec's gonna feel the pain for the parabatai bond or whatever, and he's gonna know like that Jace is dead, and as soon as he sees you, he's gonna be like, who are you? You know, like Alec would have totally been suspicious because he would have been like, my parabatai is dead, like, see this? I don't know. Oh, also when fake Jace goes back to when he goes back to Fairy and he sees Ash, and Ash is like, yeah, like no one loves me except for my mom because everyone else has this loyalty and they're like forced to love me. And like I understand now why he had that like low-key obsession over Drew, because she was lonely. And he's lonely too. It'd be lonely if everyone is forced to love you and it's not real, and like the only real thing you have is like low-key evil. Like I can't even imagine like that kind of life would really suck. And then when Ash was like, yeah, the loyalty, the fake loyalty, it only works when you're close by. And then fake Jace is like, wait, but my feelings about you never changed even when I was gone. Like I still missed you and all this stuff. So then it's like apparent that fake Jace like loves Ash, which I kind of expected and really wasn't shocked by. And then it goes back to Kit one last time, and Kit is like crying and he's talking to Jem and Tessa and he's like, no one's ever loved me and all this stuff. And then Jem is like, oh, I love you. He's like, I love you and like whatever, and they start taking care of him and training him to be a shadow hunter. And it was really cute to see how they just like kind of took him under their wing and like adopted him, and how they just treat him as their own. Okay, so that was the end of my thoughts and opinion on Ghost of a Shadowhunter Market. If you have any comments, leave them below. I love reading comments, and like I respond to every single comment that I see, because I just appreciate that anyone would want to take out the time of their day to like respond or just have a nice friendly chat with me. And yeah, if you agree or disagree with any of my thoughts, and if you have any theories, oh my god, I love theories. Like if you have any like weird theories, let me know. Yeah, I make videos whenever I feel like it, basically. But I'll see you next time. Bye.